The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is the Players Lounge, broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now, your hosts, Barry Church, Hek'ma Harrison, and Newy Scruggs.
Guess who's back in the house? It's the Players Lounge, and you are now rocking with the best. I'm Hek'ma Harrison, alongside former Dallas Cowboys safety Barry Church is in the building.
Yes,
and man, listen, today, we are going to dedicate this show to Rosie.
Rosie.
This the Rosie show.
It is.
Because my man Newy Scruggs lost his dog.
Yeah.
Rosie.
Man.
Ro.
That's
and
tough.
so
That's
he's
tough.
not in the building. He's not in the building today with us because, his dog passed away. And I know it's a tough thing, man. So,
Actually,
I want to make sure that I send my condolences out to him and the Scruggs family and dealing with the loss of a pet. I
only lost one pet my lifetime. That was my childhood dog. And
What's the childhood dog's name?
It was Flash.
Not Flash.
Flash, man. And so Flash was gone. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No. Not Flash. Cleo. I'm sorry. Cleo, she lasted about, I want to say 13 years.
13 years.
13 years. And she was a heck of a dog, smart as heck. Got a family dog now, Coco. She's on her way up there now. She's 12 years now. So it's like, man.
You know what? That's just what I'm telling you. I know how tough that is. Growing up, I didn't have any pets. My mom she wasn't a pet person. She wasn't with the pets at all. So, I was wanting one, but then and it wasn't until I was an adult and, my wife, she had a dog. And so when we got married, we had to get a dog. So I raised my dog, Kato. You might have made me say Coco.
Well.
Kato. And, man, he passed away. And, Barry, I didn't want another dog.
After that,
I didn't want another dog. I did not want another dog. But then we saved the dog, went down to the pet, the shelter, found someone that last chance dog, and we adopted the dog. Man, we got papers on her. I don't know how old she is. She might be 30 years old. All I know. But we love her to death, and I couldn't even imagine being here. So, Newy, listen, man, I want to make sure I send my condolences out to you and your family. Man, I know that's a tough thing. And look, we got to do the Players Lounge, man. So we're gonna get into it. What have we been talking about this whole time?
Wait. Before we do that,
what we got to do?
Come on, man. You know how to.
Bad. But see, listen. Hold on, though. But see, I felt like because I was, Rosie, and we was doing all that. You know what I'm saying? I just
gotta
wanted
check the mentals,
hey, man,
big
listen.
dog.
Thank you.
I just try to, you know what I'm saying?
Man,
hold my man accountable, man. That's all I'm trying to do.
For me.
I'm just trying to hold my man accountable, man.
Barry.
Yes.
You know what I do when I'm on these shows, man. I always make sure I check in. I want to check in with you, brother. How are you today?
Thank you for asking. And I'm doing amazing as always, man. Yeah. Super blessed. Life is good. Family, friends, everybody's healthy for the most part. So, hey, life is good, man. How about yourself, Heck?
Man, I'm doing good, man. Yesterday, my son had his first scrimmage.
Hey, young Heck.
Young Heck, man. And I'm telling you, it's my nerves. Well, my nerves. Was so happy when the game was over, but he did good.
Was it an inner squad or like they went against somebody else?
Against Louisville. They went against Louisville. Came all the way out here from Saxe. My son plays wide receiver for the Saxe Mustangs here in town in Texas. Texas is a football thing here. But we went to Louisville. He plays for a scrimmage, and it was awesome, man. He did good. Finished with three catches, I think 40 yards. Just some mid-range stuff. Solid outing, man. So getting our feet wet, man. We're ready for the season. So my mentals are cooking, my brother. I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
Love to hear.
Now let's get into
it, big dog.
So listen, Linval Joseph. We've been talking about Linval Joseph for a while now, and we said that Mike Zimmer was going to need his tools. Was the way we put it.
Carpenter needs his tools.
Carpenter needs his tools, and there were some names being thrown around, and Linval Joseph, obviously his name came up because he was a free agent, number one. But number two, he played for Mike Zimmer for a number of years.
Minnesota years, right?
Yeah, Minnesota. And so Linval Joseph now going into his 15th year.
Kudos to that. That's a big, especially at that position. That's a big time. 15 years. That's a lot
in the league. So What was your? I mean, obviously, it didn't surprise you, but when you saw the signing, what did you think?
Yeah, because starting off, we knew from the comments that Jerry made that they weren't done trying to make this roster better, make it more complete heading into the season, and we all understand that's what NFL teams do heading into the year. You want your roster as strong as possible with as much depth as possible, because like Newey says, this is a long season. I mean, 17 games, a long season. So I understand they were going to go out there and grab somebody that they felt knew the system that Zimmer, likes to place for his defense, and could also be that veteran presence. I didn't think they were going to go after a guy in year 15. I'm going to have to be honest with you on that. Look, if this was 2016, 2017, Linval Joseph, I'd be ecstatic. I'd be jumping on
remember that Linval Joseph.
I was still in the league when he was doing that. And I'd be on the table jumping up and down like, man, this is it. This is that guy. Because when you look at it, back then, he was that gap stopper. He was that guy that let those linebackers. Kendricks had some of his best years, behind Linval Joseph, because he didn't get touched. He was able to go sideline to sideline with those Minnesota Vikings when Linval Joseph was there. But Hek'ma, man, that was 8 years ago, 8 seasons ago.
It was.
That's a while ago. We look at, Linval Joseph now. Past 2 seasons, he's played 15 games total. Yeah. Out of 34, he played 15 games total these past 2 seasons. So when I look at it, I'm like, man, what am I really gonna expect out of the veteran's vet? Because that's what he is at this point.
Exactly.
15 years in the game on that defensive line, you're the veteran's a vet right there. Usually only quarterbacks get that long in the game. So what do I want to expect from him going into this season? And I think about it, I'm like, he could be that gap stopper still, because he's a big man. It ain't like he's slimmed up or anything like that.
6'4", 330.
He's a big
huge
man. I don't expect him to get much penetration when it comes to getting after the passer, but at the very least, he can keep those offensive linemen off of Kendricks, off of Clark, off of Overshown. Yeah. He can do that still, in my opinion. But how many games is he gonna play? How long is he going to be able to do that? This is already a defense that's depending on Kendricks to remain healthy. He's in year 11. Yeah. DeMarcus Lawrence, they're depending on him to produce. He's in year 11. Yeah. And now you're depending on, I'm not going to say put it all on his shoulders, but you want him to produce as well at year 15.
Yeah.
And it's, that's a tall task for somebody playing that defensive line. So I guess if the rotation is right, you can get the most out of them, for a stretch of games. But, to me, if this was 2016, 2017, I'd be ecstatic. Right now, I see it as a depth piece. And, hopium, maybe we can squeeze, 12 games out of them this year. And that's just my hope. But that's depending a lot on a veteran presence of a defense.
Look, I mean, everything that you brought, I think the one thing that stuck out to me, what you just said, was Kendricks having his best years with Linval Joseph. And so, I think, man, with your years in the NFL, for sure, Barry, that a one technique can make a linebacker look outstanding. He can make him look outstanding. And when you have a guy of Linval Joseph's caliber, and what exactly is Mike Zimmer going to ask of him? Mm-hmm. I mean, if you think of him in his first year in 2010 when he played for the New York Giants, that's when I was Linval Joseph, because he won a Super Bowl. People forget about that. He was a part of that Super Bowl team, and he was a part of a defense that was, in those years with the Giants, man, they shut down the run and a lot of the things that you want to do. You saw him as he went those Viking years. Again, a presence in the middle. I know that right now the Dallas Cowboys, when you talk about what their main objective is coming into 2024, it has to be stopping the run.
That's got to be it. You got the secondary.
You got you got all the other pieces. You got all the other pieces that you can get stops in the run. You can definitely create turnovers with those DBs. You trust those guys. You have some all-pro guys at both sides of corner on your corners. Your safeties are surefire. These guys can tackle. But your linebackers last year showed you that if you were not able to hold that ground, your linebackers could not work. And it didn't matter. I mean, you can get on these young guys and say, man, they didn't look too good. You could talk about an undersized linebacker in Bell. His specialty is his speed. When he can't use his speed, he is less than average. Yeah, it was bad. He is less than average. And so the bigger thing also calls to Mozzie. Okay? Because now you understand, and I think it's not sound the alarm. It's just that this guy that we drafted high and we expected for him to hit the ground running hasn't gotten there yet. And it's not like we can give him a full sample size. We can't give him all of it yet. We're still having to unveil it to him and, look, bring this guy along. And a guy like Linval Joseph, to me, is going to be great for the development of Mazi Smith. I mean, you think about your years in the I think you came in, Gerald Sensabaugh
was that guy.
Was a guy that was ahead of you. Talk about that as being even that piece. You know, you ask what he has in the tank, but also being a presence in the locker room for a young guy like Mazi Smith.
Now, if that's what we're basically saying, like that's what Linval,
I'm assuming.
Will come. Assuming that's what we're all assuming right here. But if that's his, kind of role here is to be that veteran presence, not only in the locker room, but to teach these young guys on the field what Mike Zimmer wants out of his defense, then I think it's an unbelievable signing because, like you said, he was with Zimmer through those Minnesota years. Yeah. He understands what he wants that 1-tech, 3-tech to play and how to play it. So he can definitely teach these young guys, mainly Mazi Smith, the way to go about it at the defensive tackle position. Now, the thing is, can he get out of Mazi what maybe the coaching staff hasn't been able to so far in his 2 years here with the Dallas Cowboys? Can he show him the techniques to bring out that potential? Because like you said, heck, we still haven't seen it. We still haven't seen it. And I'm not going to put Mazi in the taco category just yet because the sample size has been too small. But we need as many people possible, coaches, players, vets coming in there to try to get this guy to tap into his potential to get to that next level, because we all understand how important that position is when you talk about stopping the run.
Right.
And last year, it was a big eyesore, that middle of that defense. Now, you had Osa, who played, in my opinion, he played outstanding, but he was more of a let me get after the pass rusher type defensive tackle.
Right.
And to me, when you talk about needing for this defense, you need a guy that's going to sit and have concrete blocks on his feet, and nobody's going to be able to move him out the way. No matter if you got a guy trying to double team him from the left or right, he's going to stand his ground. He may not get up the field, get all these sacks, but he's going to stand his ground so that Kendricks and all those other guys can do what they do best, and that's come downhill and stop the run. If that's what Linval is here to do, to get the most out of Mazi Smith, I'm all for it. I just get nervous because I don't know. I don't know if Mazi, if he got that, if he got that mentality to be able to go out there and be that one technique that this defense needs, and then you're gonna put more on the plate of a Linval Joseph who's in year 15.
Right.
So it's a slippery slope. But if he can get Mazi to get that untapped potential out of there, or out of himself, then this defense, then you're cooking with grease.
And then also, please remember, as you mentioned before, Jerry said that, look, we're not done. We're still combing other rosters, and you bring in Carl Lawson and Jordan Phillips. And so Carl Lawson, obviously a 5-technique guy, is going to play out on the outside, but Jordan Phillips is a guy that you're going to move down internally that can also be that piece to have some tweener between 1 and a 3-technique. But before we go to break, I want to switch up here and talk about the NFC East, because a lot of people on the outside of this building believe that there are teams, and you've been seeing it through these signings, there are teams that are getting really good. And right now in the NFC East, and one signing in particular, something that I thought was really weird, Dan Quinn takes it upon himself to trade some picks, but also sends Jahan Dotson. He receives picks, but sends Jahan Dotson, a former first-round, 16th pick in the first round, wide receiver, to Philly.
Within the division. That's rare.
Wait a second. So, Dan Quinn, do me a favor. Don't do us no favors. You're like, what is that? What is that? That was a weird trade.
To me, that's super weird. I've only seen it happen maybe once or twice where a guy gets traded within the division. And it goes to show you what that coaching staff thinks of Jahan Dotson. Because if you're sitting there saying, all right, we're going to trade you for some picks, knowing you got to go against this guy twice a year, you would think, oh, man, we're going to send him somewhere else. Maybe still within the NFC, but not the NFC East. So basically, see him twice. So basically what Dan Quinn's saying is, hey, we don't think much of you. And we don't think going to one of our division rivals will affect us playing them twice a year. But to me, that was a weird trade. But kind of a sneaky good one for Philly. I think it's sneaky good.
Talent wise, if you just do a comparison on the rosters, Philly has gotten better. I think the signing of Saquon Barkley is the one I think that everyone points to. Then they go, they got Saquon, and that's what Saquon signing going to do is going to cut down on a lot of Jalen Hurts running, and that's the thing that ends up, wearing him down towards the end of season. So you're going to start to get the best part of Jalen, also with that running game being as effective as it can be. But Jahan Dotson, coming out of Penn State back in 2022, was one of those receivers. Take the top off, a guy that could get you that yak yardage. He could do it all. But for some reason out in Washington with Terry McLaurin, it never kind of started to materialize. And I guess Washington figured like, hey, we got enough weapons already as it is. Now, Washington, on the other hand, that's another team that if you look at their roster, and young quarterback, Daniels, you cannot go out here and put too much on especially a team with a young quarterback. But we've seen in Houston what the infusion of a young quarterback can do for your squad. And if you're sitting here and you're the Dallas Cowboys and you're seeing everybody except for the Giants right now. The Giants right now is probably that's the one team in the NFC East that you're like, are you guys literally trying to be bad?
Yeah, that's a win.
But there has not been a repeat NFC East divisional champ since 2004. This is 20 years since this has happened. That is wild. That's wild. And so we got 20 years worth of history here. And I guess my biggest question to you is, after you think about these trades and think about how teams are getting better in the NFC East, what are the chances that this 20-year trend is broken with the Cowboys winning it again?
Woo! It's gonna be tight. I'm not gonna lie. I see. Early opinions on this. We all got to see the season play out, but early opinions, man, it's definitely going to be a three-team race. And I don't think anybody's just going to, the past couple years, it's always been either Philly or Dallas kind of pulling away. One of the others going to win. Washington, I think, is going to be a sneaky team this year because they got a rookie quarterback, but the one Achilles heel, to a lot of defenses, and it's, Cowboys as well, has been that quarterback that can escape, that quarterback that can run, buy time with his feet, look downfield to still make those big plays. And that's what they have in Jaden Daniels, in my opinion, is a guy that can use his legs, but he can also throw the ball extremely well.
Yes, he can.
They got scary Terry McLaurin on the outside. They got a lot of weapons. And with Dan Quinn, that defensive side of the football is going to be ready. They're going to come to play. You seen when he came in here and infused that talent on this defensive side of the ball, what they were able to do with the Cowboys. Right. It turned everything around. So you understand what's going to happen on that defensive side of the football for the Commanders. They're going to have pressure on the quarterback. You already know that. Yeah. They're going to be opportunistic in the secondary. So to me, Washington's going to be a little sneaky team. But at the end of the day, I think it's really going to come down to Philly and Dallas. We all understand that. The Dallas Cowboys have the best quarterback in the division. And at the end of the day, when you have that best quarterback in the division, you're always going to have a leg up. All right. So Dak Prescott, to me, is the best quarterback in this division. So I would give it about a 60% chance that the Cowboys break that NFC East curse. I give it a 60% chance.
I need to start my little book.
When you got the best quarterback and you got the best defensive player in the division.
60.
I say that. I say 60 right now. As of right now, we still got time. The season's a couple weeks out.
I got it in the book.
We got time. Got the handy dandy.
I got it in the book.
You got the best quarterback, the best defensive player.
That's what I was just about to say. Dan Quinn don't have Michael.
He ain't got the bazooka no more.
He
ain't got the bazooka no more.
That show made life easy for Dan Quinn. But man, we got to get into this preseason game because we have a preseason game going on, a home preseason. The one home preseason game is being played at AT&T Stadium this Saturday versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Man, he's Barry Church. I'm Hek'ma Harrison. We'll be right back after this.
Are you the 2024 Dallas Cowboys Fan of the Year? The Dallas Cowboys and Captain Morgan are celebrating extraordinary, inspiring, and original fans. Nominate yourself or the biggest Cowboys fan you know for a chance to be named the 2024 Fan of the Year and win prizes, including a trip to Super Bowl 59. Visit DallasCowboys.com/Fan of the Year. Go Cowboys!
Hey there, Cowboys Nation. Kyle Yeomans here, sharing that same team that brought you Buffalo, bringing NFL casino games that show America's team on and off the reels. Aristocrat is changing the game with a new experience. Football fans, this means you can pick your team and play your team. Check out the Cowboys-themed casino games developed by Aristocrat, a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Gambling problem? Please contact the U.S. National Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-GAMBLER for 21 and over.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys.
And they snap it to Prescott, who looks right. It's not there. He escapes left. He'll run for a first down.
Just like football, when it comes to crypto, it's important to have a team you can trust. With blockchain.com, I know I'm in good hands. Since 2011, they've been trusted by millions around the world to buy, sell, and trade cryptocurrency.
Prescott's going to run this himself. Run it up the middle, and he scores.
Whether you're new to crypto or an active trader, they've got you covered. What are you waiting for? Get started at blockchain.com.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
Back to the Players Lounge.
The creators of Buffalo Casino Games brings you Cowboys-themed casino games developed by Aristocrat. Find America's team on and off the reels now at a casino near you. Do you have a gambling problem? Please contact 1-800-GAMBLER for 21 and over. Back in the SWBC Mortgage Studios, Hek'ma Harrison alongside Barry Church. This is the Players Lounge. This is the Rosie Show, dedicated to our man, Newy Scruggs, his dog that he lost row past this morning. Mm-hmm. And we want to make sure we dedicate this show to him because I know our brother, his heart is heavy in the Scruggs family. Yeah. But Saturday, 3 o'clock, we have a scrimmage. That scrimmage, Jesus Christ. Preseason game. Yeah, it's a scrimmage. Yes, it is. It's a scrimmage. A preseason game between the Los Angeles Chargers and the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm telling you, man, I wish this was a regular season game.
Oh, me too.
Because I want to see what Harbaugh is putting together over there.
And my boy Herb. I'm just saying.
Hey, Justin Herbert is walking in the boot right now with a bad case of plantar. So that see how that affects him. But we're going to get a helping of I don't know if Easton Stick and Luis Perez.
Ooh, Easton Stick. He's still around.
Yeah, Easton Stick is still around. And look, we still get an opportunity to see more of probably this. Trey Lance will probably play this.
He's got to
play the entire game. Made some advancement from his first game and his second game, so he got a lot better confidence there for what should be your number 3 quarterback on this roster. Yeah. But for a lot of guys, and you've been in this position before,
plenty of years at this position.
This Saturday's game is very important for a lot of guys.
Go ahead.
And it's one of those things like you are now getting an opportunity to make a case for yourself for being able to make this 53-man roster. And so, man, just talk to that and what that pressure is like playing in that last game.
This game is huge when you talk about guys towards the bottom half of the roster, because that's all every team in the National Football League is trying to do. Spoke on it a little bit earlier, but they're trying to make sure their roster is strong as possible going into the regular season. So guys towards the bottom of the depth chart, and I've been there, my first probably 2 years. I was at the bottom of the depth chart trying to figure out ways to make this team. And this game right here is stressful. And it's one of the hardest, if not the hardest game I probably would say I've played in the National Football League when you talk about condition wise, because you're gonna be on every single special team, offense, defense, whatever you play, you're going to get all those reps, especially if you're at the bottom of the roster trying to make this team, or at least trying to put good tape out there for other teams to pick you up if you do end up getting released here. But you're on every single special teams. I'm talking about you're covering punts. Well, straight from covering punts to playing safety or whatever position you play on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Then you're going on punt return.
Yeah.
Kickoff return. And you're getting about, 60, so whatever snaps in that game on the defensive or offensive side of the football. So to me, this is one of the hardest games. And I remember me and McCray, after our rookie season, and we had to do this last game, I think we played against Miami. And at the time, they had a aging Ricky Williams was in there. And we was like, we ain't going to have to go against Ricky. Like, we ain't going to have to play against him. Man, lo and behold, I guess he was trying to make the roster as well. So we go out there, we're, everybody's hyping everybody. Yeah, we got to do this. We're going to do this. Here comes Ricky Williams out the back. I'm like, hold on, man. Wait a second. I got to go against Ricky out here. Man, and let me tell you, I'm playing the middle of the field. Ricky gets a draw, breaks through the D-line, breaks through the second level. Man, it's me and Ricky one-on-one. Yeah. I'm like, man, here we go. Because growing up, that's who I was watching. Yeah. Texas, man, he was holding it down. Man, that man hit me with the illest 1-2 step and got up out of there.
No.
I'm talking about left me reaching.
No.
I'm reaching. I'm grabbing AstroTurf out there. I'm grabbing turf, those little black bees that are in the turf flying up in my face. Ricky skated off. Somebody else ended up tackling him, one of our corners. God. And I'm sitting there like, that's it, man. I'm thinking to myself, man, I didn't do enough in this preseason to have be locked. And then I made missed a tackle and then made a big play. What's going to happen, man? I'm thinking it's over with. But, our special teams coach at the time, D. Camillus, he showed love. He was like, nah, this guy got something, so we're going to keep him on the roster. And that's why, and it brings me to my point, when you and these young guys and they're going out there, everybody thinks you got to be great on either offense or defense. I got to make an interception. I got to, get a sack. I got to make, 10 tackles. And that's good. That's all well and dandy. But where you want to make your hay at, especially if you're on the bottom of that roster, is you got to make a play on special teams. You got to show consistency on special teams, whether you're a gunner, protecting the punter, punt return, blocking, whatever the case may be. That's where you want to make your hay at. Defense is great, offense is great, but 9 times out of 10, if you're on the bottom of the roster, you ain't going to see the offense or defense no time soon. So special teams in this last game, for those guys, you've got to go out there and make sure you show Fossil, Coach John Fossil, that you belong on this field with these guys and you deserve a spot either on the 53 or whatever the dress, how many players they dress nowadays. You got to make sure you go out there and show that coach that you can play. Offensive defense is great, but special teams, you got to make it happen there, man.
Who knew that Ricky Williams almost made you a financial advisor in Pittsburgh?
I'd have been up in Pittsburgh, hey, come see me.
Let me talk about your 401k.
Man, how can we help you today?
That ain't the same Barry Church I know, man.
Dude hit me because he had that mean, triple T, man, with the visor. I'm like, this dude, 1-2 step, it was gone. I said, that's a wrap for me.
Dude, so, obviously watching all these preseason games, knowing what's going on in camp, for you, who would be your dark horse player to make this roster? A guy that kind of reminds you of yourself. Doesn't matter offense or defense, but a guy that you say, look, this guy has an opportunity to make the squad.
So I would have to say, and I don't know if he's, that far at the bottom of the roster. He may be a lock already, but, what I would love to see a little bit more of him out there. But Jalen Brooks, the receiver, to me, each year he's been here, he's made strides. And when you talk about getting your opportunity on the football field, he's done a great job offensively. We've seen him in that first game when Cooper Rush was out there. I believe it was against the Chargers. He was the one that caught that deep ball from Cooper Rush early in the game. He makes those plays on a consistent basis, and he does, great in training camp. Yeah. He just hasn't had that chance during the regular season to go show what he can do. But to me, I understand you can do it on the offensive side of the football. We understand. You can receiver, you can make plays. I just love to see him be able to do that same thing and make an impact special teams wise, whether it's being a gunner, getting down there, like I said, or covering kickoffs, like I said, getting down there, because that'll get you dressed during the regular season. Right. That'll get you out there on the football field, running out of the tunnel, lights going crazy, you buckling them up. That'll get you that opportunity is if you go out there and you're able to do it on special teams. So, like I said, receiver-wise, I understand he's a good receiver. He'll probably end up being the, maybe 5th or 6th option out there. But if you want to go out there and get dressed on a regular basis, I want to see you do some of that on the special teams case.
So I'm sitting here. I want to make sure that I'm looking at. I mean, there is a ton of depth at the cornerback position, and obviously ton of depth. And you know how good you are on both sides. Trayvon Diggs, a lock. Deron Bland, lock. All right.
Jordan
Lewis, lock. You know, you have guys in that secondary. Carson, who's made his case. He's been playing well. But a guy by the name of Hek'ma Hall.
Oh, my boy, he did his thing last game.
Look, go mean green. I'm going homer on this one for sure.
Greener, okay.
But Hek'ma Hall, to me, has made a case for himself. And look, there are guys like Eric Scott. There are other players on this team that, obviously are coming over to Mike Zimmer from another regime. But still, I think, if they're going to go, hey, that's Roxanne.
Hey,
I hadn't seen Rox in a month, so I had to give a shout out. But Hek'ma Hall is a player that I think, man, has made a case for himself. Now, as you stated, it's going to come down to special teams.
What can you do?
Mm-hmm. And I think those are guys like that even if, I would be watching him as a player to see if another team picks him up. Because he's been in the league for quite some time. It's not like he's one of these young guys first year in the league, but you see that playmaking ability from him. Man, and it would be good to see a guy like that make the team. But also, I got it, since you didn't pick none of the guys that I thought you were gonna pick. Number 57, Buddy Johnson.
He's been playing.
Buddy Johnson, and I'm torn between Buddy Johnson and Nick Vigil.
So you're saying Willie Harvey's a lock?
I think Willie's a lock.
Yeah, I do too.
I think he's a lock.
I do too.
I mean, he didn't have as good a showing that first time around, but I just think that what you've been hearing from him out of camp. So if he doesn't, look, it's really a toss-up, though, there. And you never know, especially when they're making spots for other guys. That's because they're still – so he may be one of those guys like C.J. Goodwin.
Exactly.
C.J. going to get cut.
Yeah, because they're going to bring him.
They're going to bring him back. So we might as well prepare ourselves for that right now. But those are the guys. And I'm really interested also, Barry, to see some of these other positions. What are they thinking in some of these other positions, like running back? We talked about this a couple of days ago, but how many do they plan on keeping in the running back room?
Yeah.
How many wide receivers do they keep? I do think your guy Jalen Brooks is a lock.
Yeah. You think he's locked?
I think he's
key.
in.
Okay.
I think he's locked in, and I just think he's big. He's made a case for himself. He's definitely improved on last season. And I think you need another presence. He's a young guy that's showing you that he has something.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one for sure. So I'm definitely good on the Jalen Brooks. One position, and I want to get your thoughts on this. And I'm not sure if either of these guys, will play or have a lot of playing time. But we've talked about it at length in this offseason, which is the center position. Yeah. Brock Hoffman and BB, which has been a battle back and forth. You've seen the coaches; they're starting to grow with BB, and as far as him, understanding that center position because he played guard in college, but understanding as a unit how to play there. But then you also got, I wouldn't call him a veteran, but you got Hoffman in there who's had some experience at the center position as well. I would love to see those two in this preseason game. I know you're not going to have Smith or Martin next to you in the starting offensive line, but just to get those guys more experience and basically see, whoever plays better is going to get that spot. Because these guys are neck and neck, and usually it goes to the guy with the higher draft capital, which would be BB. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on them playing in this last one?
I said it on Wednesday, man, and I'll say it again. I think that when you have two guys, you have an incumbent and you have a rookie in the same category. If the incumbent isn't leaps and bounds better than the rookie, then you're going to go with the rookie. I mean, it seems to me like Hoffman, he has been a feel-good story and a guy that I think, has shown you that you have some added depth there. Yeah, he can be that depth piece for you, but I think you cannot keep Cooper Beebe's nasty on the sideline. You need that. Yeah. You need that. And the whole thing about your team, the offseason on down, has been toughness. Everybody's questioning our toughness. Are we tough as a team? When you get another guy in there that you say, oh, he got a little bit of nasty to him, that counts in December. Yeah. You know it. And
that's
so
what you want to go to war with.
At some point, as we said, as you know that it's a long season, just knowing that you have that extra piece there, I think is going to be good for Coach McCarthy going into the season. But when we come back, we're going to talk about expectation. I know that we haven't gotten to, we're going to wait until next week, a couple weeks, to start talking about the schedule and what we predict. But there are some players that have a little bit of extra pressure on them coming into this season. But also, pressure's good. All right?
Yeah. You get a bus or McDonald's.
Hey, there you go.
One of the two.
Pause. Hey, what we're gonna do? We're gonna come right back. This the Players Lounge, baby. Whoa.
To kick off the 2023 NFL season, Hugo Boss teamed up with the NFL and Micah Parsons to launch an iconic apparel collection featuring hoodies, crews, t-shirts, polos, joggers, and more. The bold, unique apparel of the Boss NFL collection unites football and fashion while reflecting what it truly means to be a boss. Get yours today at nflshop.com/HugoBoss, at HugoBoss.com, and at Boss retail stores. #Be your own boss.
I'm Cowboys alumni Danny McCray, here with Smoothie King asking, what's that sound? That's the sound of me sipping one of their Power Pack smoothies with over 10 grams of protein. With real fruits and organic veggies, because at Smoothie King, what you see is what you sip. So grab a delicious Smoothie King smoothie, throw a straw in your jaw, and get sipping real. Smoothie King, the official smoothie of the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey there, Cowboys Nation. Kyle Yeomans here, sharing that same team that brought you Buffalo, bringing NFL casino games that show America's team on and off the reels. Aristocrat is changing the game with a new experience. Football fans, this means you can pick your team and play your team. Check out the Cowboys-themed casino games developed by Aristocrat, a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys. Gambling problem? Please contact the U.S. National Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-GAMBLER. That's 1-800-GAMBLER for 21 and over.
Raising Cane's presents the other rules of football. Rule 1, any broadcast without the express addition of cooked-to-order Cane's chicken fingers is prohibited. Rule 12, no crinkle-cut fries, Texas toast, or craveable Cane sauce constitutes an illegal formation. And Rule 31, anybody who loves to feed their game face is an eligible receiver of Cane's. When it comes to winning game day, Cane's rules. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love. Go Cowboys.
Back to the Players Lounge.
The creators of Buffalo Casino Games brings you Cowboy-themed casino games developed by Aristocrat. Find America's team on and off the reels now at a casino near you. Do you have a gambling problem? Please contact 1-800-GAMBLER for 21 and over. Back in action here at the Players Lounge for the final segment. This is the Rosie Show, whole show.
Hey, shout out to Rosie, man.
Dedicated to Rosie and Aristocrat. We have to read that again for you. So good, so good. Don't you agree?
Make you say it twice.
Yeah, man. I think I know the lady that hands these out, so we'll have a conversation. But so I was talking about expectation. I'm not gonna get myself in trouble. Talking about expectation, and look, I want to know from you,
Okay.
because I think this offseason and this Cowboys camp has been filled with so much drama. Okay? It's a lot of drama out here in these Cowboy streets. And a lot of it is concerning certain position groups and certain players.
Okay.
So you don't have to pick one. You can mix and match. It doesn't have to come from the same side of the ball. But I want you to tell me your give me what your expectation is going to be for a certain position group.
Okay.
And expectation for a certain player. You say who?
All right, so I'm gonna go with the what you had said at first. I'm gonna mix and match a little bit.
Okay.
I'm gonna go offensive side and I'm gonna go to defensive side of the football. But when you talk about a position group that I have high expectations for, and I would hope that they were able to fulfill those expectations, would be the tight end group. In my opinion, you have Ferguson, who that's your man, and he has played outstanding last year, and he's on the cusp of being one of the top tight ends in the National Football League. But to me, that group has got to play outstanding this year, not only in receiving but blocking as well. You got a young, left tackle out there. You're going to need some help chipping players out there and holding double teams. So that tight end group, blocking wise, is going to have to be outstanding. And then when you talk about receiving wise, Ferguson's going to have to make that leap. 700, I believe, 61 yards? 761 last year, which is outstanding for a tight end. But I'm going to need a little bit more because I believe, like you said, last week, the tight end group, mainly Ferguson, is going to be that number 2 option. You got Cooks, who still got speed out there, but he's an aging receiver out there. And last year he made a couple plays here and there, but to me, you're going to need that solid number 2 option. That's going to need that security blanket, because we all know what CD's going to represent. He's going to get his stats. He's going to get his yards, but teams are going to make sure, and they still might not be able to stop him, but they're going to triple him, quadruple team him out there. Right. So you're going to have that number 2 option in that security blanket, and I think it's going to be this tight end group, mainly Ferguson. You got Jalen Tolbert out there, who's unproven, going to get a lot of one-on-ones out there. And then you got Cooks out there, who's going to get a lot of one-on-ones, but he had a lot of one-on-ones last year, and we still didn't see that crazy production. So to me, that tight end group as a whole, whether it's blocking, receiving, they're going to have to step their game up, and I believe they'll be able to, because Ferguson's a hell of a tight end, and you got some guys in there that can block along the line of scrimmage as well. So that's the group I'm going with. And my expectations for them are being, to play their butts off this season. Now, when you talk about individual players, we keep piling on my guy, but it has to be said, because it's the main problem when you talk about the defensive side of the football, and that's the run game. Mm-hmm. I expect Mazi Smith not to take a massive leap. I don't expect him to go from what he was last year to Aaron Donald or whatever the case may be, but I need him to be that guy that they drafted in the first round, like when he was in college. I need him to be that guy, to go out there, take on those double teams, be able to be a solid contributor against the run, and keep those offensive linemen off the second level. Let those guys do what they do. And I know we've said it ad nauseum about Mazi Smith being able to go in there, and it's tough because, being a first-round pick, I feel like all the pressure is on him to stop the run. Like, it's just him by himself. If he can't do it, then this defense is done, which is not the case. It takes, all 11 guys out there to stop the run. But to me, that interior part has got to be more solid than it was last year. And I believe if he can take that leap with the, coach under Zimmer, you got Linval, Joseph, you got some veterans around you that can teach you the game a little bit more, and the ins and outs and the little sneaky tricks that those guys like to do on the inside, then I believe he can take that leap. And the Cowboys are going to need him to take that leap if they want to go to where they want to go, which we all understand where that is, the end game goal, the goal at the end of the season. So those are my group, tight end group. Going to take that next step, block in, being that solid number 2 option. And on the defensive side of the football, get my Mazi to get my boy Mazi to take that next leap.
So what I'm gonna say about the tight end group is Jake Ferguson, definitely. Yeah. Jake Ferguson is a guy that can have 1,000 yards as a tight end. And you hadn't seen 1,000-yard tight end since Jay Witt, mm-hmm. right? And I'm gathering those numbers from the targets that Gallup left behind. Yeah. I think there's going to be guys that are going to get more work than you saw before. So a young guy like Tolbert, his targets are going to increase. B. Cooks, his targets are going to increase, but there's also going to be more balls for you on that end for Jake Ferguson. So I think Jake Ferguson is going to get that work. But I'm going to go. And look, man, amen to what you said about Mazi. But my position group that I'm going to go with is going to be this offensive line. Okay. Offensive line. And the reason the offensive line last season, the Dallas Cowboys finished in statistical top 5 in area yards, touchdowns, all of that. All right. The game, the amount of drive, the length of drives that they had, they were one of the best in the NFL. And I think you do that because you have a solid offensive line. 100%. Right. And those things, protection for Dak. This is a big year for Dak, obviously. But if we are trying to get rid of the ghosts of Green Bay, you are going to need your offensive line to play up to par. And we know we're already a little nervous about this running back room. If you are going to have any success on the ground, it's going to be because your offensive line is the catalyst for that. And so definitely going there. Now, we did have a production meeting, so I didn't think you was just going to take the tight ends away from me like that. So thank you for making me scramble, Barry.
You're fast on your feet, man. On your feet.
God, dog. I'm going to go Osa Digizua. So you go Mazi, I'm going to go Osa. Okay. And here's my thing with Osa. We have been giving Osa, we're not giving him a pass, but I think that for what we imagine he is and what he actually is, it's not going together, right? I need Osa Odighizuwa to be a presence on this defense. And I understand, look, sometimes when things are going downhill, it's easy for it to let it go downhill altogether. It's just not just them, it'll be me too. We could do it as a unit. I don't want to be left behind, right? But I think Osa has to take that step. And that's like cliche, take the next step. What is that? You know, be consistent, game in and game out. Don't be a guy that disappears after you've had, you know, a sack or two or a tackle for a loss or any of that. We need that consistency from a guy that you still view as a young guy, 3rd-round draft pick. He's been solid. He's giving you some good reps, but I think it's the consistency piece for Osa that I'm looking to, man. But we got it done.
We did. Let me throw one group in there. I forgot about it. Let me throw one more group in there, and I'm going to put the corners. I know the secondary as a whole, but I'm going to put the corners in there as well, because if, you know, Diggs is able to come back and be that player that we know he is, you know, defensive player of the year, you know, in the running for that type of performance. If he can be that guy and Bland can continue to take the football away like he did, if those guys can lock up on the outside, including Jordan Lewis, if those guys can lock up on the outside, that'll allow Zimmer to bring more guys in to help on that run. That's right. So that's, to me, you know, I understand what we got on the outside. Those guys are special. And if they're able to continue to play special like that, that'll allow Zimmer to put more pieces towards that run defense and allow maybe that, you know, that Cowboys defense to, I mean, if they can be top 10-ish against the run, man, that's all they need. You're talking about, then the sky's the limit then. Yeah. So corners, they'll be good on the outside, though.
One player that you have no worries at all about.
Oh, that's the bazooka. I mean, you know he's going. Micah Parsons, you know he's going to ball out. Whether it's, you know, getting after the passer, making plays, whatever the case may be, I have no worries about him. I would say Kendricks as well, because Kendricks is a heck of a linebacker. The only issue, year 11, durability. Will he make it throughout the entire season? Because to me, that's going to be a quarterback of your defense. He's going to get that defensive line set up. He's going to make sure the secondary knows what they got to do. He understands Zimmer's defense. We can't lose that guy. That he's got to be durable throughout the entire year.
My one player then is going to be Brandon Oakcliff Aubrey. He from Oak Cliff.
Man, kicking from Oak Cliff.
He kicking from Pleasant Grove.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, but Brandon Aubrey. That's the one guy I'm not worried about. 66-yarder in the preseason. That is bananas, man.
How big of a weapon is that? That once you pass the 50, it's basically an automatic 3. Like that's crazy.
Hey, that is ridiculous, man. And I'm telling you, I'm like saying to myself, like, Brandon, come on, man, save some of this for the 66 yards.
No, that's nuts.
That is bananas, man. But BC, we did it again. We'll be back next week. It's going to be Players Lounge on Tuesday and Thursday of next week. But for Jazz, for Josh, for all the people responsible for getting this thing done, for Nikki Harrison that provides the reads.
You going to get in trouble.
This is the Players Lounge.
Shout out to Rosie. Shout out to Rosie.
We'll see you on Tuesday.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!